Look, Universal, I know that you wanted to compete with other big movie franchise. I realized that pulling your big movies to an entire giant universe sounds like a great plan, but I am so sorry. You definitely ruined the legacy of this movie. And Tom Cruise, what were you thinking? I'm just so disappointed. I can't. Okay, I'm back. For the record, I did watch the previous Mummy movies. The first and the second one were my all-time favorite. And I am not sure about the third. It's not because the female lead was changed, but I think the storyline is simply pushing it, you know? But this one? Believe me, if I can throw a lame shade at the people responsible, I would. I mean, just why would you do this to an amazing franchise? Why? I'll just talk about the story first, okay? Maybe this will ring any bell. Tom Cruise played Nick Morton, a US soldier but also doubles as a treasure hunter. And he was on the hunt for a treasure called Karma with his buddy named Vale, who is somewhat just a dude for following whatever Nick wants. He knew this treasure from a map that he stole from a very attractive British archaeologist whom he spent a night with, and her name was Jenny Walker. Please remember their background because I will talk about them once I finish this preview. So yeah, they figure out a map to the treasure, and they finally found it, only to figure out that the treasure was actually a mummy. And the one that freed the said mummy is Nick Morton. And basically that's when the story started. Nick Morton will end up as the chosen one, and everything went downhill from there. I'll tell you to pause here and stop, maybe if you haven't watched the movie, but since I won't recommend you to watch it, feel free to continue anyway. Yes, it is that bad. First of all, I mean no disrespect, this movie I think is meant to be a spin-off or the continuation of the previous franchise, or just a darker turn with a similar storyline. I have no idea, but it is such a disappointment because while the movie makers are trying to make a dark movie, they still want to use the elements of the original movies, and for me, it just doesn't play out the way it was supposed to be. I don't have any first reaction for this movie because from start to finish, I am just not impressed. The things that I'm excited about is how many Easter eggs that I found throughout the movie, not the movie itself. The first Easter egg that I actually realized was the Book of Amun-Ra, or was it the Book of the Dead? I'm not really sure, but they have similar markings, and the main female protagonist was like hitting someone with that book. That's why I knew what it was. And the second Easter egg is when Tom Cruise had to jump into a double-decker bus, and it reminded me of a scene in the second Mummy movie where the main characters fight with mummies inside a double-decker bus. And how the mummies dissipated, how the mummies disappeared, it is really similar to the previous franchise. Another Easter egg is the background of the characters that I talk about. There's the thief soldier who became a treasure hunter, there's the female archaeologist, and there's the clown. But this clown is dead at the beginning of the movie, which kind of pissed me off because I think he has so much potential. Yeah, so that happened. Moving on to the things that I don't like about this movie, and I might go back and forth on this, so bear with me. The first thing that I don't like is actually the storyline. It's boring, it's flat, it doesn't have the magic as the previous franchise did, and it doesn't really help the characters either. Also, the chemistry between Nick and Jenny doesn't make any sense. In the old franchise, the soldier and the archaeologist has some depth for their characters. We know the reason why they do what they do, and they just don't suddenly meet up, became partners, and search the mummy together. In here, the relationship is very rushed, and I don't think it's worthy for them to be together after just such short amount of time. But eventually they did. with Nick saving her and him becoming a monster. And this ticks me off even more. Another thing that I don't like is how this movie turns out. I don't get if this is supposed to be a dark movie or a comedy movie or both, because there are some scenes that are supposed to be funny but isn't, and they play this pause thing which usually works out in the old franchise, like when all the mummies are about to kill Nick and stab them to death, and then Jenny figured out what they're doing and just stood there petrified, and all the mummies just like looked at her. I would have laughed in the old franchise because it would be so funny. But since I'm already confused from the very beginning, it's really hard to read whether they wanted this scene to be funny or not. And that happens several times. I am also bothered by the exact copy of the character's background. I don't think it goes very well with the setting that they wanted. Like I said, everything feels rushed and weird. I have other concerns, but since they're mostly about characters, I will talk about them as a whole. First off, it's Tom Cruise. I mean, we all know that he's a legend, but in here, he just doesn't fit in. In the previous movie, Brendan Fraser slays as a serious but still comedic treasure hunter slash soldier. But in here, I get the feeling that they wanted Tom Cruise to have similar vibe. But for me, he was just too serious. So I think they spent too much money on him yet earning too little. Because I am seriously disappointed in him. I'm sorry, Tom. I love you in any other movies. I even love you in Night and Day. But in here, you're not a good treasure hunter. Sorry. Another one is the female lead character, which is Jenny. The issue that I have with her is something that I've talked about, which is the depth of her character. So she seemed to be this wibbly wobbly character that ends up being a secret agent working for a secret company, and apparently not a real archaeologist at all, at least not for a government or something like that. I don't get it. I don't get what she is. Also, still can't understand how Nick and Jenny be together. Yeah. Another character that confuses me is the fact that Mr. Henry Jekyll from the books of Jekyll and Hyde is alive and well, and always constantly fighting his dark side, which is, I believe the full name is Eddie Hyde. I mean, what is his role in this movie? And why is he like some sort of mediator? I hope that this can be answered in the future movies, because if it can't, I will be seriously ticked off. The only character that I actually am fine with is Princess Amulet herself, because she has a decent background and means to what she was doing, even though her villainous way is really one-dimensional and cannot be compared to what the Imhotep wanted, which is the main villain of the previous franchise. Now, as always, should you watch this movie? I don't recommend it. I don't think you should. I feel like I wasted my time watching it, and I am not sure if I want to watch it again, which is really odd, because even with bad movies, usually I want to watch it at least the second time, but I really don't want to watch this one. I mean, I'm not even giving it a second chance. I'm sorry, Universal. You got off to a rocky start with this dark universe. So, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to click that bell button besides my subscribe button so you will be notified if I upload something new. And for this video, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe if you want to. And I say and too much. I'll see you next time. Bye.